All right, we've made it. The Gil Can Run Show, episode 10. Here we are. Can you believe it? 10 weeks already? 10 episodes? It's crazy, right? So, I've been getting a little serious about things. And that's because, it's weird because I'm actually not a serious person. For whatever reason, when I'm sitting here talking to you, I tend to get serious. And it was funny because today at work I was sitting there thinking about how completely not serious I am most of the time when I'm doing things that like adults are supposed to be doing, like working. I just always seem to want to make jokes. I think it's because when I'm in public, I'm very nervous, and so I want to be entertaining. I think in private, I like to ruminate. I like to think about things, and it gets serious. And I'm going to try not to do that this week. I'm going to try to not get serious. There might be a little bit of stuff that's kind of serious, but for the most part, I'm going to try and keep it a little bit lighter this week and, just have some fun. So, still no races. I have my big weekend coming up in a couple weeks. The 24th and 25th marathon around the lake, part of the 24 hours around the lake. And then I have the Broadway Ultra Society 6-hour pajama romp, which is a lot of fun. And as I said, if you're going to run like a 6-hour race or a 12-hour race or something like that, be there to run the whole 6 or 12 hours. I mean, unless you're really hurt or, whatever, like, try and keep moving, because usually, like, they're small races and there's not a lot of people, and, it's hard to get in, and they are a lot of fun because it's a crazy breed of people that do that stuff, so it makes for a lot of fun, right? So, if you're going to do it, like, go for it, right? Don't like, half-ass it. Don't be like, oh, I got a couple miles in, no, just quit. Just keep going. Unless you can't. If you can't, that's fine. Never push yourself harder than you need to. By the way, yeah, I did that this weekend. It's healed up pretty well. I heal pretty fast most of the time. I was splitting logs. I hurt myself pretty bad. I wrote about it. My back was killing me. It's still a little bit sore, but it was absolutely killing me because how often do you split wood? Unless you have a fireplace. And I don't have a fireplace. My asthma doesn't allow me to have a fireplace. So I don't split wood very often, but I was splitting wood and I wasn't wearing gloves like an idiot. So I have a nice healing blister on my hand. I actually have a couple, and it was really painful. But I also tweaked my back pretty well because, it's just muscles you don't use. A lot of people, oh, you're getting older, oh, you can't do what you used to do. All that bullshit. It's bullshit, okay? I don't use the muscles, right? If you don't use it, you're going to lose it. So, I don't use those muscles. What do you want? So, that's cool. I did hit a new low in weight since I got my scale, 178.6. So I am down, since I got the scale, I'm down 14 pounds. I still have another 10 or so to go. I'm going to get there. I'll get it done. It needs to get done. But, I was pretty fast today in my run. I was really happy with my run. You can check it out. I post my runs every day that I run. I put a link in the blog, in the Facebooks and Twitters and all that other stuff. And I don't know why my arm is itchy, but it is. I do this every day that I run. Every day I try and write something. Every now and then I miss, of course. And sometimes I'm just not in the mood and I write something really terse and whatever. It's hard to stay like up and positive all the time, right? Bad shit's going to happen every now and then. I've had a string of bad shit happening to me. I've been struggling a little bit. It's okay. These things happen. This too shall pass and everything will be fine. So, I'm sitting there and I just went out and I ran today. I didn't run yesterday because I was just everything just hit the fan. It was terrible. By the time I got home, I was like, you know what? I don't feel like running. I felt like crying, to be honest. So I ran today. I actually ended up doing 7.3 miles. And I have not done a 10K in under 50 minutes in forever. I don't think I've ever done a 10K distance in under 50 minutes. And I did today. I was just under 49:59 is when I hit 10K. I was very pleased with myself. I ended up doing 7.5 miles in an hour and 2 minutes. Hold on, I have it right here on the computer. Anyway, you'll see it, but an hour, 2 minutes, 42 seconds. I mean, I just took it easy the last, mile. I really did not push hard at all, but I was like right there, right? So I was all sorts of pumped. I was like, for me, over the last year and a half, 2 years, I was flying because I hit a point where I just started slowing down. Lots of bad stuff started happening, and I just kind of was like, all right, I got to keep moving, but who cares how fast I'm doing it? And then it just kind of snowballed, and I've been, focused on doing so much distance that I haven't been very fast, and I've dropped off a lot in speed. So even in training runs. So I was very pleased with my performance today, and I feel good. I don't hurt afterwards, which the last time I did a training run faster than what I've normally been doing, I hurt really bad afterwards. And I actually ended up injuring my knee. It was horrible. So, and then I just had to take it easy until it pretty much healed up. But today I was able to just go out. And I wasn't intending on going fast. It just worked out that way for me today. At one point I was sitting there and I'm looking, I'm like, holy crap, how fast am I going? And I realized, hey, I could, do 10K in under 50 minutes. And so I did. So, just kept pushing, kept going, and that was that. It was a good training run, and it was kind of humid, kind of hot. It wasn't the most wonderful conditions to run in, but the sun wasn't out. It was overcast. So that helped me out, kept me cooler than I had been over the last week or so, where it's been very sunny, very humid, very hot, and it's just been nasty to run. So that was cool, right? I got out there, I just flew, and it was nice. Had I not walked up the Whitney Avenue Dam and things like that, then, I would have done better, but that's neither here nor there. That is what it is. So, I've been thinking a lot about kind of serious stuff while I've been running over the last, couple weeks and everything. And for the most part, that's what I've been talking about, and that's what I've been writing about, and things like that. And a lot of serious stuff is happening. I mean, Confederate flag stuff. South Carolina brought theirs down as of tomorrow morning, and, stuff like that. And I have a whole thing. I mean, Civil War buff was my father, and, grew up with all that stuff. And, having ancestors that fought for the Union, and I have a family history of abolitionists and, basically working class, working people on my father's side that have been, in this country for almost 400 years now. And before there even was a country. And, so I grew up with a lot of that stuff, and it really gets me going because, particularly the Civil War, because of everything that it means. And a lot of people, well, states' rights, and states' rights to own people. That's all I'm going to say. That's it. It's just, horrible thing. And, stuff is happening now, kind of starting the healing process after 150 years. Let's put it that way. Probably still going to be a long road to go, but that's neither here nor there. So a lot of serious things going on, a lot of serious things going through my head. But one thing I have noticed with my change of diet, and this is serious, but at the same time very funny, and I'm sorry, but I'm going to talk about poop. Because, that's what I'm thinking about. I'm sitting there, and I've been changing my diet. I've been eating less meat. I've been pretty much vegetarian for a couple weeks now. A few weeks. Every now and then I'll have a little something because I don't want to upset Grandma, because she made something or things like that. Okay? I'm not eating, it's a transition anyway. I knew I was taking time transitioning, and it's actually been well over a week since I've had any meat. But here's what we got, right? So I've noticed when I'm not eating meat, it's cleaner. That is, it's easier to wipe afterwards. Yes, a benefit apparently of not eating meat is less of a mess after you poop. Less toilet paper used. Who knew? Nobody ever talks about this stuff. I'm going to talk about this stuff. I don't know. If you're a vegetarian and you're watching this, let me know. Particularly if you ever ate meat beforehand. Are your poops cleaner now? Have you noticed this? That now it takes less effort and less paper to wipe afterwards? It has that effect with me, believe it or not. That is what is happening. And from previous episodes, I do have a penchant for talking about poop because a lot of times it's very funny. But it's also really important, It tells a lot about your health, how you're eliminating your waste, okay? As runners, we're always worried about hydration. We're always paying attention to the color of our urine, right? I guarantee anybody that's watching this that's a runner has remarked on the color of their urine and checked a little chart or something of some sort to figure out how hydrated you are at some point and how much more or less you need to drink. I guarantee it. Each and every one of you has done it. I know I do it all the time. Hydration is very important to me. I sweat a lot. I've discussed that before. So hydration is something that is very important. But also, your poop. There are charts everywhere that can tell you all sorts of things about different colors of your poop and what it means. And also the density of it, whether it's floating, whether it's sinking, tells you, are you eating too many fats, so you're eliminating them? Is your poop denser, so it's sinking, and so you're eating more proteins and things like that? These are all things that you learn from poo. How about that? And, you're sitting there and you're like, poop. But pay attention to it, because the size and shape and consistency and all that stuff, which you can tell just by looking at it. You don't have to touch it and dissect it and everything. Although maybe some of you are into that stuff and that's what you're doing and that's your deal. Don't talk to me about it, please. I'll get a little sick. But I'm usually pretty good with gross stuff. I'm not good with poop. I don't know why. But I'm pretty good with most gross things. So, it's seriously though, check these things out. You never know. You could maybe find a problem that you were having. As I said, I've noticed certainly it's cleaner as I eat more vegetarian diet. It is less dense, although still sinking. The color has gotten consistent. I've stopped having certain problems. I've always been regular, put it that way, regular. As in, I usually poop once a day. When I was severely going through weight loss, when I was at 250 pounds and I was trying to drop weight as quickly as I could and get rid of it, I would go 2 days or so, but I was not eating a lot of calories. I was eating maybe 1,400, 1,600 calories a day. And I was probably burning a lot more than that. My body wasn't making a lot of waste. Now that I'm up around 2,000 calories a day, I'm back to going once a day, usually. After long races and stuff, I will go more than once. I don't know if anyone else has that problem, but usually after half marathon and up, I'll end up having to poop 2-3 times that day. Part of it is caloric intake, and part of it I think is just my body being what the fuck is wrong with you? But, it is what it is. So, we get there, we get our thing going, and, it's something to check out. Check out your poop. And, consistency, cleanliness, all that stuff. Just check it out. And when you play with your diet, pay attention to what's happening, because how you're eliminating waste does say what your body is doing. If I, obviously if I'm going once a day, then I'm taking in enough calories to produce enough waste to go once a day, right? And if I'm not, if I'm having trouble, that's the other thing. I don't have like painful poops anymore. When I was eating meat, a lot of times when I would start out, it would be really painful. It seriously hurt, like pain. And also sometimes that pain would be from having a little fissure, maybe, from just, too big a poo trying to come out of too small a hole. And that's always something that's concerning when you're wiping and there's blood, not poop, right? So you're like, really? Like, yeah, that's scary at first, and then you ask your doctor about it, and then he explains to you what's happening, and then you're like, oh, okay, well, then, So, and it was a problem, and apparently it's a problem that other people have had. It's, part of it is obviously my anatomy, so maybe I'm more supposed to be a vegetarian than other people because I'm not having that problem now, where it's not, causing me to, tear myself a new asshole when I'm pooping. There's no other way to put it, right? As a carnivore, I was tearing myself a new asshole while I was shitting. Ta-da! That's it. So, now I'm not. I gotta say, I enjoy that a lot more. It's much nicer. So, all these things, all these differences are helping. My body is changing. It's changing the way it fuels itself. It's changing the way it eliminates waste. And there are all these changes happening. And I don't know if it's because I was distracted because I'm having such a bad week and I was so upset, or it's because of the change in diet and change in everything else that I was able to produce such a good effort today. We're going to see what I get tomorrow for an effort, because I missed Wednesday, so I got to run Friday. So we'll see what happens, and we'll go from there. So, but these are all things to take into consideration. So I'm actually talking a lot about running today. Isn't that a shocker? So yes, the running vlog that seems to never talk about running is now been talking about running for 20 minutes. Great, fantastic. So here we are, right? Talking about a little poop in relation to running and all that good stuff. So sorry for the jump cut. Once again, once I get better equipment and can do this, I'll stop jump cutting, but dogs are barking and then stuff happens, so, whatever. But, pay attention to how your body is reacting, and that means paying attention to everything that your body does. No matter what it is, no matter how you feel about bodily, stuff and everything. Like, every little bit of what you're doing athletically or whatever, non-athletically if you're not athletically inclined, but all that stuff, your body is going to feed back and tell you, based on how it eliminates waste or reacts to certain stimuli, whether or not what you're doing is good or bad and all that other jazz. So there we have it. Important stuff to pay attention to, because, the whole thing, the whole reason to run or whatever is to take care of your body, right? Well, and to get from point A to point B faster. But that's besides the point. Most of the time, people are running to be healthier, right? So, why wouldn't you pay attention to all these indications of health, right? So that's what I'm doing. Paying attention to how I eliminate waste, paying attention to what my body's saying to me as far as pain and stimuli and all that other stuff. And, that's what we do. So if you're not paying attention to these things, please start listening. You'll get better at whatever you're doing because your body's trying to tell you something when things are happening. It's a whole communication thing. Lots of us are bad at communications. You know how I know? I have a degree in communications. There we go. All right. You know what? I forgot to set the clock back on, so I'm going to do that now. So I know when my time is up, because I will just keep rambling ad infinitum, and that's the last thing I want to do, because I don't want to bore anybody. I don't ever want to be a bore. I like being exciting. I like being dynamic. I like being fun, and all that good stuff. So, yes. As I said, pay attention to your body. Very important. I can't stress that enough, apparently. I keep repeating it. So, other than that, this week, as I said, it's been a little bit of a challenge. I have had some struggles this week, and it happens. We all have struggles. And I realized that how you react to the struggles is actually more important than, succeeding or failing or anything. It's just your reaction to the success or the failure or whatever that really is important. But I guess that kind of goes along with my whole vibe of, how people get really upset when you tell them the ending of movies and books? I don't. I don't care how a movie begins or ends or whatever. I care about the journey in between. If the journey sucks, then the movie sucks. I don't care how good the ending is. I don't care how many explosions there are or whatever, right? It's a journey from point A to point B, just like running. And what happens in that journey is what's important. The beginning and the end, not important. Those are the bookends. Everything has a beginning and an end. It's the middle less important. Are you concerned about how your life began or how it's going to end? No. What are you concerned about? You're worried about what's happening in the middle, what's happening right now. Because what's right now is what's in the middle until your end or your beginning. So, whatever. I'm not that concerned about it, right? So, I enjoy the journey. I enjoy traveling, and that's the other thing that I've been thinking about is exploration. We have New Horizons. 14th is going to hit Pluto. Well, it's not going to hit Pluto, but it's going to do its closest flyby of Pluto. It's going to take pictures and do all of its things that it's going to do, and it's going to be really exciting. It's going to be really cool. We're already getting some detailed true color photos of Pluto, and that is so cool, right? Because human beings are exploring, and I think that's what we're meant to do. I've talked about that. I think we're meant to explore. So, and I was thinking about that. I was thinking about exploring and traveling and how that all goes together in my life. Because, I have this, it's not just a sense of adventure. It's a sense of wanting to learn. I want to know things, and the only way to know things is to experience them. Once again, experiences, the things that are happening in the middle, right? And I'd much rather have experiences than have things, right? So, and there are good experiences, there are bad experiences in life. It's whatever it is, right? But I'd rather feel those things and do those things than have just stuff, right? I don't care about having a nice car. I don't care about having a nice house. I don't care about any of that crap. I care about being around nice people, having fun, doing fun things, and exploring and finding things and learning things that I didn't know before. And, there's a lot of cool stuff out there. There's a lot of cool stuff on this earth still that you can go and experience. And then there's a lot of cool stuff out there that we need to get out there and experience. And it's all very cool. And it's like it's what I think about. I think about exploring. I think about traveling. And then NASA published this great 8-minute video detailing opportunities marathon on Mars, right? The Opportunity rover has actually gone over a marathon at this point. Spirit, unfortunately, now Spirit and Opportunity, here's the interesting thing. Over 10 years ago, almost 11 years ago now, they were supposed to have a 90-day mission. That was it. These two rovers were supposed to last 90 days. Okay? Think about that. We spent millions and millions of dollars to send these two rovers to Mars to explore for 90 days. One of them lasted like 5-6 years, and then it broke down to the point where they couldn't get it to operate anymore. I mean, it's still standing in place and able to do some stuff, I think, but it didn't have enough power to keep itself going and, whatever. But then Opportunity has been out there for 11 years and it's still going and it's still traveling and it's still exploring. That's amazing. And in that time, we sent another bigger, better rover up there, Curiosity, and it's doing its job and it's going around and it's finding things and it's exploring things. And that is so cool. But what would be cooler, of course, is getting someone up there. But that would be like, a year's journey just to do that. It's like the best conditions, 3 months, 5 months to get out there. And then you got to go explore when you land. And then it's another 5 months or so back. Or maybe more. It might be more than that. It might be like a 2-year mission or whatever. But that's neither here nor there. The important part is that we need to work on getting things faster and getting people up there. Because we need to do that. These are things we need to do. We need to go explore Mars. We need to go to Europa. We're getting ready to go to Europa. We got to drill through that ice. NASA was saying, we're going to find life elsewhere in the universe by 2030 or 2020. I don't know. Anyway, a bunch of people from NASA have been saying that for like a year now. And someone just said it again. And it's true. Okay? I'm not saying that there are little green men with big bulgy eyes. And that's a load of horseshit. First off, I've said this before, we don't have anything to offer any other intelligent life. And if they found us, they'd be like, why am I going to waste my time with them? I don't have anything to learn from them. But what we're going to find are like microbes. We're going to find like small multicellular organisms, things like that. And we're going to find them in places where the lay person, the normal person, never considers, to be viable for life. Obviously Earth is perfect for life and this, that, the other thing, but we're not the only place, okay? We're going to find stuff that's going to blow people's minds. It's going to be great. And, it's cool. It's cool to know that we're not alone. And a lot of people, I have an uncle who gets very evolution is a myth and, this, that, the other thing. He's one of those creationist people. And whatever. I don't argue with him anymore. I don't even speak to him anymore. Because it's too much. It's too much for me to handle. Because I try and explain to him and he just doesn't understand, first off, what evolution is. He doesn't get the concept that it's not that we evolved from a chimpanzee. It's that chimpanzees and other great apes and hominids, that's what we are, we're a hominid, all had a common ancestor. And then different adaptations at different times for different reasons led to different species. Speciation. It happens. It's a thing. You can watch it. You can see it happen. I've talked about this. MRSA is a perfect example of that. Bacteria that can resist antibiotics. It evolved because we created antibiotics. And now it's a thing. Now it's a species. And it's, causing all sorts of problems for us. So, this is observable fact. These are things that have happened. And you can either look through the historical record or you can look at actual experiments and actual things that are happening now to prove macro and microevolution. And it's there and it's a real thing. So, this discovery is out there. It's going to happen. It is probably going to happen on a place like Europa at first. At first. And then we're going to start learning that there are other forms of life. And I think we're going to find out that not all forms of life are even carbon-based. We're all carbon-based life here, right? Without carbon, we don't have anything. And it's because of water and how water reacts with things and how it dissolves certain things and doesn't dissolve other things. But there are other chemical combinations that can react the same as carbon with other liquids that can be liquid, solids, and gases at the same, within a certain range. And I think what we'll find is, in the end, long after all of us are dead, is that there are silicon-based life forms and things like that. I think that is going to be a reality. There are plenty of people out there that have theorized it, hypothesized it. They have shown that it is possible, even though it seems very unlikely to us. But I think that, when you take a place like Titan, where you have seas of methane, or methane as some people say, and you have clouds of methane, and you have ice that's methane, all at the same time. Okay? So you have these three phases of this one molecule, like we have water here, all existing at the same time in the same place. I think you're going to find that molecules have found a way to come together. I mean, we only got a few seconds of data from the surface of Titan. Do you realize, or people that are watching this, do you realize that we have gotten data from the surface of Titan? Titan, if you don't know, is a moon of Saturn. The Cassini-Huygens probe, run by the European Space Agency, the ESA, several years ago, took the Cassini spacecraft, had a little Huygens probe on it, and Cassini launched Huygens. Huygens went through the atmosphere of Titan. It broadcast data as it was going through the atmosphere of Titan, and it landed on Titan, a hard landing, and it continued to transmit data just for a few brief seconds, and we got data from the surface of a world that wasn't our moon. I mean, Saturn is, after Jupiter. It's all the way out there. I mean, there's only one planet after Saturn. No, two, I'm sorry. Oh my God, I can't believe I just said that. There's only two planets after Saturn. Uranus and Neptune. I'm not going to smell Uranus. I had to make the joke, I'm sorry. But someday they'll rename it to Eurectum. Who here watches Futurama? Anyone? I love that show. But, we got data from another world. I mean, how cool is that? That is so cool. That should inspire everybody to do this stuff, to want to do this stuff, to call up your congressman and be like, why aren't we paying more for this and less for other crap that we don't need? Why aren't we doing that? We should be doing that. I actually do that. I got to tell you, I don't really call them. I email them every now and then. I say, hey, NASA could use a few more $1 billion. We could use a little less money on certain things that I don't necessarily agree with. I won't get into those things. I think you can probably guess what those things are. The ironic thing is that I work in one of the sectors that I think that we should spend less money in. I'm not going to work there for much longer. Actually, I just got word today that my boss has hired my replacement, as my contract is expiring in September. My replacement will be starting early, which is good news for my department, because I really like my boss and I really like the people that I work with. They're very nice people. It doesn't matter what I do insofar as that's concerned. I work for very nice people. I work with very nice people, except for one person who I want to punch in the face. But that's neither here nor there. I won't do that because I'm a civilized human being. But let me tell you something. I have to listen to him run his mouth all day about stupid stuff that has nothing to do with work. And it pisses me off. And what really pisses me off is he's the first one that complains about the job other people do, and yet he sits there all day long and does not focus on his work. Okay? He seems like he gets his stuff done, but he could do so much better if he focused on his work and shut his mouth. That's just the way that it is. But, so we're sitting there, and he told me, that my boss now, not this guy that pisses me off, but he told me, my replacement starts July 27th, so that'll be cool. I will be able to train him up and get him up to speed. It is a him, I was confirmed. Um, and get him up to speed and get him going with everything that he needs to know well in advance of my leaving, which will be nice. And then I'm free to do whatever I want to do. And I'm pretty sure what will end up doing is finding a job in Italy. I think I'm done. I think I'm done with the rat race. I think I'm done with the BS. I think I'm done. I might get a temporary job for now just to, make a little bit extra. But I don't really want to get a job. I could probably find a job where I'm working now, but I don't really want to. It's not a sector I want to work in, and although I work with nice people and I like working there and everything, the whole uncertainty of the market right now and everything, and the fact that there's been 2 rounds of layoffs since I've been there, I don't need that stress. If I have a job, I need to know I have a job. I don't need to worry about, am I going to be next? Am I going to get laid off? I've been through that. It's not fun. I don't want to do that ever again. All right? I want to go someplace where I'm appreciated, somewhere that I know I'm going to work there as long as I want to work there, instead of, someone dictating to me whether or not I'm going to work there, And I think teaching is one of those things where I may go from school to school, but I'll be a teacher, and that's what I will do. And, I could also be a tour guide if I wanted to. I can take those tests and I can pass those tests. I know I can, even though my Italian isn't so good right now. But we're working on that. In fact, I've been working on that every day. I've only missed 2 days in the last 2 months. So I'm getting there. And you just have to work at whatever it is that you want to do. But, I definitely want to get out there. I want to be in a place where I can explore more places. I've already explored most of the United States. I know that there's more that I could see, but I've pretty much hit the highlights, and I'm okay with that. And, that's it. I don't really need to see Montana. I'm sorry. If you're in Montana, I'm sure it's a lovely place and you love it and it's great. I don't feel the need. I don't feel the need to go to Alabama. I don't feel the need to go to, Kalamazoo. I couldn't think of any place. Kalamazoo. That's always a nice, funny town name. Kalamazoo city name. Walla Walla. That's in Washington. Thank you, Bugs Bunny. But, it's just, I don't feel the need to go out there and gallivant. I don't want to see Alaska. Great, it's wilderness. Great. I've seen plenty of wilderness in my life. I'm sure it's very majestic. Ooh, very nice. But I just don't feel the need to see Alaska. And what I see on TV of Alaska is a crazy lady with a crazy family who won't shut up and go away. Shut up and go away, please. You're stupid, and you're making us all look stupid. And then you see the people with the airline. I don't know if that show's still on. And you see the crab fishermen. And then you see the crazy, homesteader farmer people out there, which is cool. I mean, it's cool what they're doing. Don't get me wrong. But, I don't need to see that, I've had enough Purple Mountain's majesty. I've been to the Rockies. I've been to the Sierras. I'm sure Mount McKinley is humongous and great, but how many mountains can you see before it's all right, I've seen enough mountains. So, what am I going to do? Go check out freaking, oil pipelines? I don't want to see that. I want to smash those things. I'd like to see a polar bear in the wild, but I don't really need to. And actually, if I end up doing the Greenland, marathon, even though they never see polar bears, still, there's a chance, So, whatever. And I've seen polar bears in captivity, although I won't go to zoos anymore. I won't go to aquariums and stuff like that. But, and don't get me wrong, I have a friend who runs a zoo, It's a great zoo, and you should go there, Beardsley Zoo in Bridgeport, if, zoos are your things. I just, they're captive animals, and it's kind of like, and I get it. Like, some of them could not live in the wild, so that's okay. And a lot of them now, and actually, Beardsley Zoo is cool because I don't think any of their animals come from the wild at all. They've all been captive bred, so, they couldn't really go out into the wild. So that's cool. But, for the most part, it's like, you know. But if you're conserving the animals, by all means, keep conserving them. And Beardsley Zoo is doing that. Like Mexican wolves, they're like in a swap program with Mexican wolves and Andean bears and things like that. That these are endangered animals that need to be bred. And some of them do need to get released into captivity, and they work on that and they do that, and that is cool. So because apparently we are in the middle of like an extinction event, or maybe in the beginnings of an extinction event. And that's not cool, because it looks like we're kind of causing it. And actually, we have caused the extinction of a few creatures that we know of. And that's horrible. That's horrible. And we should be very ashamed of that. So, anyway, I hope you had fun this week. I had fun this week. If you liked it, share it. Share it. Get people to join up on the Facebooks. The book faces, I need more followers because I'm an egomaniac. No, I haven't gotten any new followers recently. I'd really like to see, apparently when you hit 100 followers, there's like a big thing. You get like a control panel thing. So, I'd like to see what that is. So, share, enjoy, do whatever you want with this stuff. Honestly, just don't, cut it up and make me look stupid or something. I do a good enough job of making myself look stupid. I don't need any help with that. So get out there, keep running, enjoy. We will see you next week for episode 11. Ciao.